How have you felt about your start to the season and how things have gotten underway this first couple of weekends?
I think it's gone really well. This team's really just been able to gel within the first couple of weeks, and I think it's showing all of our work throughout the fall, throughout preseason. I think it's just showing out right now.
And how about for you personally, just how you've been throwing, what you feel about velocity, location, all that stuff?
Yeah, my biggest point whenever I'm throwing is just thinking about keeping batters off balance, and I feel so far I've been able to do that. And just want to keep improving on that as we get through the season, keep facing better teams, and just, keep working with it.
Yeah, the quality field this week looks like it's going to take a jump. What do you feel like you guys have got out of the first couple weekends to help prepare you for just taking it to another level of competition as the season goes on, beginning this weekend?
For sure. Well, first, I think this team's ready. We've been putting in the preparation for the past 9 months now. And I feel us more ready than ever to just go out and truly compete with these teams. But I think a lot of us have been really focusing in on our mentalities going into this weekend. So I'm really excited to see how that's going to play out.
How do you think that being able to bounce back from that first loss when you are taking that step up in competition, but then reeling off 5 straight wins after that, how do you think that prepares you for this weekend, being able to kind of deal with that hardship and know you guys are still going to be able to get through it?
For sure. Obviously, you never really want to lose, but there's always a lesson to be learned whenever you face that. So I just think it taught our team to keep moving forward. Like we said, the sun rose the next day. Losses are going to happen. There's going to be hard times during the season, so just learning to deal with it and roll on with it, it's super important.
You talked about mentality earlier. What did you mean by that? I mean, what conversations you guys have along those lines?
Yeah, well, I think that was something really big for me personally going into the second weekend. And honestly, I took that opportunity just to really focus back my mentality to my faith, instead of thinking about the whole picture. What do I have to do? I just think I'm doing it for my Lord.
What do you feel like has been the biggest takeaway for you guys through these first 2 weeks?
I think it's just been, we don't have to do anything more than what we expect. I think whenever you go out and you're trying to do something outside of yourself, it can cause more pressure on yourself rather than just going out and playing like we know how to. We've seen what it looks like whenever we just go out there and play free, and it's nearly unstoppable. So just go out, play like we know how to.
These freshmen are making it look easy. Obviously, it's not easy, and it's going to get harder.
Yeah.
How fun has it been to watch? But do you try to tell them, hey, you're going to have to adjust, or do you just kind of let them do their thing?
Yeah. Well, one thing I'd like to say about them, they have some of probably the most softball IQ I've seen out of any freshman class. And I think just playing with that is already a huge boost in itself. So just taking that IQ that they have and continuing to play with it throughout the season is super important. But I think that, again, with the loss, it just kind of taught them okay, you know what, that's one. We have 50-something games this season. There's going to be so many more ahead of us. We can't let this one take us down.
Before the season, Missy talked about, how many young players you guys have on the roster, so you're going to be able to sort of catch some people off of balance just because they weren't expecting you guys to come in with that because of the lack of experience. But now that you guys have 2 weeks under your belt, do you feel like you guys have sort of met that, or do you feel like you guys have sort of exceeded those expectations?
Yeah, I think there's been some learning that we've had to do on the field, off the field, whatever it is. But I think we're still, obviously there's going to be learning with every beginning of the season, but just continuing to roll with it and just take what's being taught and bring it into the next game,
What are some of those room or areas where you guys do want to improve?
I think probably just we're communicating, on the field, off the field. There's stuff that goes on behind the scenes, just with all the logistical stuff. So, just talking that out with the team. But I will say, and I did tell our freshman classes, I think they're handling it better than a lot of other people would as well. So I think they're genuinely doing really well, holding this team up too.
As a pitching staff, have you guys fed off much of what's going on for your guys' offense, the way that they're hitting the ball right now?
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to pitch whenever you have an offense that's going to come up and back you up like that. So just being able to go out there and just pitch freely, knowing that no matter what happens out there, like my offense is going to have my back. It's awesome. It is awesome. So
When you face a couple of these teams this weekend, last season in the Pac-12, are those certain opponents who you like to face again, just because you did face them before and whether you had success or they got to you a little bit, whatever the case was, of those teams you're looking forward to playing?
Yeah, I mean, excited for any competition, especially one that has history like we do. So I think that's probably the most exciting part of it, just be able to say, we're going to see them again, it's not the end of it. So it is pretty exciting.